Listen to and views from over 68 countries from around the world. This is the GridCast, and I am your host, Danny Cox. Behind the camera is Tyler McQueen, and with me is my co-host. He is a box owner and a grid enthusiast, and he kicks higher than any rocket at Radio City Music Hall. His name is Conan Bruce. Conan.
I didn't know that. I thought the Rockettes could kick above their waist.
Well, they actually can kick way the hell up here. I've seen you do some amazing things, though. When you're back,
we can't talk about that in public. All right, guys, here we are in New York City. We are on a quest to find Christmas in New York.
Wait, it's May.
Is it May?
Yeah.
I heard Christmas is in New York. I don't think we should waste any time.
Yeah.
Let's go find it.
Let's go find her.
We love to lift, laugh, and improve. This is Björk Odinsdatter.
Oh, man. Starting the day here in New York.
Where's Christmas?
Dude, we checked out FAO Shwartz.
Oh.
There's no Christmas at FAO Shwartz. Where is Christmas?
You know what? Maybe she's with the Rockettes at the Radio City Music Hall. Let's go check it out.
See you there. Danny, there's no Christmas at Radio City Music Hall.
How is there no Christmas at Radio City Music Hall?
We've got to find Christmas. Danny, dude, I'm getting worn out looking for Christmas. If you can't find Christmas in Rockefeller Center, where are you going to find Christmas in New York? The tree's not there.
Dude, Conan, there's no ice skaters down there.
What the heck, man?
Dude,
All right.
I am worn out. Let's just go ahead and knock out Quadrant 1.
Quadrant 1 it is, in Rockefeller Center. What better place to do in New York?
Thank God. You
All
know,
right.
This is an amazing city, actually.
It is freaking fabulous. I love Christmas in New York. Hopefully we can find it.
It's the best time of year.
So look, what's going on in the world of grid?
So Elizabeth Akinwale was actually picked up by the Baltimore Anthem. That's a huge deal.
Which is crazy.
That is insane.
I mean, last year when we were talking about kind of big name people coming into grid, right? It was big name, I would say CrossFit folks from CrossFit Games kind of. This year, it's just big names. You've got Klokov. And I'm talking about mostly with the Anthem right now, right? Because they're signing a lot of big names. You got Elizabeth. This is going to be crazy to watch.
Here's the real question, though. So all the teams now have to take all these superstar athletes, right, from all over the place, and now let's make a team out of them.
Yeah, that's what's going to be fun to watch, right?
So all the teams are going through mini camps in the next couple weeks, getting ready for the June 13th matchups in San Jose. And if you don't have the tickets, go ahead and buy them right now. Yeah,
because we're going to try to be out there as best we can. And I talked to Tracy Close, the 40-plus athlete, female athlete that got picked up by Baltimore Anthem, and it sounds like they're looking at trying to do like a 2-week mini camp before the actual matches, which is going to be.
I think all the teams are pretty much doing that right now.
Yeah, I would imagine it's good for logistics because you've got the grid rig out there, you've got all the everything you're going to need equipment-wise, everything's going to be out there. So it's a good time for them to get out there. They can gel, and then they can roll right into the McKinley match, right?
But let's talk about the logistics, though. Because, a lot of people taking 2 weeks off of work.
Yeah, if you can picture that, it's great to be picked up by a team. It's great to be on a professional team. But a lot of these folks still have day jobs.
Yeah, because right now, grid isn't there yet.
Right.
So where people can get paid enough to drop their day jobs.
There might be a couple folks out there getting paid.
True.
But most people are going to have a day job. And you're going to have to get off for 2 weeks and then get off for probably another week or another weekend at least, right? And then travel back. So you're looking at 2.5 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks with everything combined, travel out to California and everything. That's a lot of time off for the average person.
It's a heck of a lot of time off.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment, but you know what? They kind of knew this going into it, so hopefully they're prepared.
Heck yeah. So I think that's it for Quadrant 1. We finished all our reps here.
Yeah.
And let's head on over to Quadrant 2.
What are we going to do there?
Christmas.
Got to find Christmas. I'm getting tired, dude.
Me too. Holy cow, I found Christmas. Guess where I found her? At Reebok CrossFit 5th Avenue. Hey, Christmas, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys, how are ya?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on the GridCast.
Well, thanks for hunting me down.
We've been all over New York looking for Christmas.
Yes, we have been. But, we got to see New York. We got to explore New York a little bit. And finally, we got to find you. We're, of course, in a CrossFit gym.
Of course.
Where else would she be?
Of course. Why looked at first.
Why did we go to Grand Central Station?
So, anyway, we wanted to get into grid. right? And just find out, how you became a fan of Grid, how you got involved with Grid, stuff like that.
Yeah, because we saw you on the sidelines doing a little commentary, and then, we know there's obviously a connection with functional fitness and Grid, but how did you find out about Grid?
I found out about it when they were constructing it. They were trying to put it together, and I just heard that they were doing these human races.
Yeah.
And the format was so different than what I had seen before, so it automatically struck my interest in being able to tag people in and out, and you have specialists, but they still have to be good at everything. So not only are you a good general fitness person, but then you have a specialty on top of that.
Yeah.
And the whole process just sounded so fascinating.
The pace of it is crazy, isn't it? I mean, if you're used to watching other functional fitness competitions, like in your show, I judged at the games a few times, and I'm like, I watched this, and I don't even know how the refs keep up. Like, how do you even count that fast? They're just going.
Lots of years of training, watching, and coaching.
Yeah.
So what I thought was really cool was once I heard about it, it piqued my interest, and then I watched one of the matches. And it just blew my mind. I was like, holy crap, that was like, it was like watching the first time I saw somebody do CrossFit before. I was like, I don't even understand what just happened. But I love it. How do I get involved?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to us. You know what? I talk to a lot of people, and I ask them, like, hey, I tell them about Grid, and then I'm like, you know what? Just watch a match. Go on YouTube or whatever. And as soon as they watch it, like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what just happened. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm in. Right?
At least they start from one end to the other. At least we can understand that, right? So that kind of helps when you look at it. But
it's great to watch too because it's a sense of completion.
Absolutely.
So you there's a goal and then that's it.
And it's not 3 days long.
Right.
No offense. It's not 3 days long.
So just in case if you've lived under a rock for the last few years, let's just talk about who Christmas is, right? So in your past, when you were younger, you got to you smoked a little bit and
a lot.
A lot, and had a little bit of bumpy road there.
Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Right. So I grew up in North Carolina. There's one thing you can find in Virginia or North Carolina, particularly in I don't know what decade you grew up in. Late 80s?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, I was in the 70s, right? Tobacco is everywhere. Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we started smoking like when we were like 9, 10 years old.
Yeah, I was 13.
Yeah, because it's just everywhere.
Yeah. If you dipped, you did something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dipped once in my life, actually.
Yeah.
And I wish that this had happened with cigarettes, but I dipped one time. And, you're supposed to spit it out and stuff. And so I took it out of my mouth finally. And I had this crazy nicotine body buzz going on. And then I drank something, so I swallowed all the residual.
Oh,
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Literally my face turned green, my body turned green. I went and hurled.
Yeah.
I was at like a country line dancing club.
Yeah.
I think I was like 13 years old, 14 years old, and I never dipped after that. So I wish that had happened with smoking.
Your body rejected it quicker than it did smoking, right?
It did.
That's a good thing.
So then, unfortunately, got in a car accident when you were 13 years old. That kind of changed things a little bit. But you also, a little bit later, then went to Iraq. And helped out the military out there, and you did some laundry stuff out there, and that's where you actually found CrossFit,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just in Iraq doing laundry.
Yeah, I know.
Working out.
Just chilling.
So Danny and I were talking about this on the drive up here. We drove up from D.C., to come do the show in New York, and so I was in Iraq, 2003, 2004. I was in the military. And I was explaining to him like how that is like this. It's like this massive production.
Because I have no idea.
Just drops in there,
really
right?
Don't.
And they've got to build every facility you can imagine. Someone has to do it.
Yeah.
And there's contractors that you bring in because there's not enough military folks. They're busy shooting stuff, right?
Right.
We're busy dodging bullets, but you got to have everything that you have here. You got to have there, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they have contractors.
It's completely like a instant built city. With no entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the entertainment are the fireworks.
Yeah. And it's funny because I was a laundry attendant. I harassed this company for 6 months to give me a job. And I sat at a desk and people would bring in their laundry. What I did logistics so the military could do their job.
Right.
And so that was, it's a really cool thing to do, even though they're like, you did laundry? Yeah, I did laundry.
Yeah, but don't get it twisted. It's very dangerous to do laundry in Iraq.
Yeah. I've heard some of your stories through other interviews.
Yeah.
You've probably heard a mortar attack or two, right?
Yeah, it's funny because all the guys would make fun of, like, if we had rounds coming in and, it's after hours from working, I would run to the bunker barefoot and everybody else would come with shoes on. And I was like, I'm not wasting time putting on shoes. I'm dodging mortars over here and I'm going to be in the bunker. But I was always the first one there. So
I always grabbed food when I was running. I was
Yeah?
like, I'm not going to be in that bunker without food.
yeah, because sometimes we get locked down for a couple hours.
That's crazy. So my point of going into where you were in Iraq was that the military is a very team-based atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
And then you were also in regionals on a team for a CrossFit team.
Yes.
And then Grid also, obviously, teams.
Yes.
Right? So right now, all the teams are going through their mini camps. And they're trying to get all of these people that don't know each other and trying to form teams. Right? So what is the most important part of pulling in these teams?
You know, I think the Grid teams have a harder time forging these teams than any of those other examples that you were talking about, because you have these alpha freaking athletes
Yeah.
and then you expect them to work together and perform proficiently as a team. Just because you have a good athlete doesn't mean that you have a good team.
Right.
And so
Absolutely.
I was really fortunate to be able to watch the team Rhinos last year during their team training and just doing team exercises in the sense of running through the drills to understand how you can shave milliseconds off of a workout, right? Or any of these elements. But merging these personalities is such a huge part of team training and team development. So understanding that if you have one bad apple, it can destroy your whole team. So just, it's really interesting to watch that. So I do the same thing with my coaches at Invoke. We'll get together and we'll do little fun exercises, like really silly exercises to just break the ice, come together as a community, come together as a team, and then we work better together. So it's really cool to see these teams come together. And I think that the more creative they can be with it, then ultimately it's going to show in their work too.
Because a lot of these folks, I mean, not always, but predominantly if you came from CrossFit or functional fitness sport, probably most of them have been individual, especially if they're like, almost the elite level. Very few I've seen at least came from teams, unless they played a team sport in college or something like that. So it's been really, I think it's been an eye-opener for some of them. They've never played on a team. So it's all been about them, and now you have to actually like tag out. Like, no, get off the grid.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And you have to know when where your line is too.
Right.
And instead of taking those extra seconds and forcing something to happen, like recovering and then hitting that next movement, you can tag out, but pride doesn't let you do it a lot of times.
Ego gets in the way.
But your coach is going to say, get off the floor.
Oh, yeah. And one of the big questions for one of the teams is the Baltimore Anthem. I mean, they have Dmitry Klokov, right, on the team. It's a superstar, cast on Baltimore Anthem. How are they going to meld together, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be really interesting to see this season for sure.
And you're right. Like, individually, that it can be a bad thing sometimes when you have too many alphas in one room, and then one person wants to do this and the coach is like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
Now they're having to listen to a coach that they've never had before. So I'm interested to see how it's going to play out in the next few years when you actually get to have continuity with the teams.
Right, year after year, kind of like you would on other teams. Like if you're in college and you play 4 years with the same team, when you're a freshman, you're probably not ready for all that. And maybe even if you played high school sports, you're not ready for that level. And then here, it's like all of a sudden you're dumped in the fire. So it'd be neat to watch this like in about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, you got to have some respect from those coaches because they have their hands full with those guys.
Yeah.
So how did you guys do it when and you guys went to the regionals and everything? Like how did you
when
guys
I went to
adapt
regionals and the games, I just was boss.
Well, of course you are.
I did it because I was in charge.
I was boss. My gym, my team.
There you go.
You have to have somebody that calls the shots,
Sure.
and people will have their input. And as a leader or as a coach, you have to listen and try things out, trial and error. And we just practiced a lot. I got super technical. Like I get super geeky with it. Like literally spreadsheets and timing people, transition timing, and
Moneyball stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It was, and it worked really well because a format that I wouldn't have thought would work because it's like, well, that just doesn't work. Once we put it into the spreadsheet, it worked better in a certain way. And so that actually gave us a huge ledge, put us at the games. Yeah. Yeah. So it was interesting. You got to trial and error, but ultimately there's one person that calls the shots and they're the final say so.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how I did it.
That's
worked.
awesome. Yeah, heck yeah, it did.
So I want to move on to something I think is, I think personally is pretty cool. And I always try to get people that are kind of in your position where, you probably, maybe, and you can give us your version, maybe didn't realize you'd be where you are today, right?
Yeah.
If you looked back 10 years. So we've heard the story about, your past, but what I'm interested in hearing is, because we have a lot of athletes that watch this show, either they're already pro athletes or they want to be pro athletes. So you have gone from being Christmas Abbott to a brand Christmas Abbott, kind of not a thing, but it is something that you have to kind of shape, right, and format. Did that happen by accident? Did you plan it, and how did that evolve? And then what could you tell other people?
One, it was totally natural and organic, and people hate hearing that because they're like, "Oh, that's bullshit," like whatever. you don't
I was awesome, and it happened.
Just be awesome, people.
There's the key. Done.
No, it really was. It was organic. But I think what made, I don't know if it made me different. I'm not sure, but I love fitness. And it makes me so excited. And I love CrossFit. I love weightlifting. I love yoga. I love running. It's fitness in general. And passion, you can't hide passion.
Right.
So I think that authentic love for this sport is what people saw. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, going to the games, people start recognizing you, and you get to go, that continuity of mm-hmm. competition.
So opportunities start to present themselves, probably.
Yeah. And really, it was just kind of really a fluke where my friend signed me up for Instagram. A year later, I'd only taken one picture. And then he was like, "No, Christmas, just take pictures of whatever you want." Right. I was like, "What do you mean?" He's
How does this work?
"Just do it of your life." And I was like, "Well, my life isn't interesting. I eat and I go to work out." So I just started doing things that I loved and that I found interesting. Mm-hmm. And then that just kind of started to snowball. But really, for anybody that's looking to make a name for themselves, one, just be true to yourself. If you start listening to what everybody else has to say that you should do, then you're living their life.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I heard, "Well, Christmas, you shouldn't be that naked on Facebook. Christmas, you shouldn't, post that because it's not good form, or, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that." Right. And I just had to stop listening to them and post the things that are, put out there the things that I love and I want to share, and be true about my history, my past. I think that people can relate to that because it makes me human. And get off the freaking podium. Not mean like don't win things, but like don't be on your high horse. Be humble, be grateful, listen to people's stories. You're inspiring other people. They're going to be inspired and then inspire somebody else. It's a beautiful like butterfly effect. But it only works if you're true to yourself, mm-hmm. and if you're honest about your life and what you do. And I'm always kind of like weirded out by people that have never had real opposition in their life or difficult challenges.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, no, you're not that much of a princess. Like I don't believe you. Either you really have had that like beautifully blessed life, or you're just like you're like one day away from snapping. It makes me weird and nervous.
Danny hasn't had an easy life, but I do have to tell him to stop being a princess.
And I am a beautiful princess. Excuse me.
Did you find your tiara and FAO Shwartz?
Yeah. Well,
I didn't let him buy it though.
Right.
He looked at
no, I wanted the jasmine dress, but it just didn't work out.
So I hear a few themes there in that, and it was basically be true to yourself, be passionate, go with your passion. One thing I think you might have left out was how about work fucking really hard.
Dude, people don't understand. Like
right?
This does not. You don't get to check out.
I see you work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny to look back because there was years, and I still do this. Like you don't get to punch out of a clock, right? My days are from when I wake up until I go to sleep. And a lot of the times I was teaching teaching the 6 a.m. class, teaching boot camp. I was traveling on weekends doing L1 seminars. And then I was coming home doing programming and running the operations of my gym and just freaking hustling. Like you put in the work, you're going to get the reward, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
And I've been doing CrossFit for almost 10 years. And people are like, "Oh, how did you get so famous so fast?" I'm like, "Get out of my face."
That was a decade
I didn't get good at CrossFit just because you just walk in and do it. It's the work put into it. Yeah.
It is definitely one of
those. But it wasn't
things.
Intentional, which is crazy. Now it's intentional. Mm-hmm. Now I have like a
but you're
focus
still following
and a goal.
your passion, though, right?
Yeah. I have a beautiful life. The worst day is still 100 times better than my best day at a 9 to 5.
And you're not in a bunker in Iraq.
Barefoot, running through gravel with jackets and helmets.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you joining us on Quadrant 2. And so without further ado, we're going to kick it over to Quadrant 3.
See you there. Hey, guys. Welcome back. Here we are in Quadrant 3 with Christmas Abbott. Again, Christmas in New York in June. It is June, right?
May. So wait a minute. So in our previous episodes, he couldn't do math, right? He also didn't know English, and now he can't tell where we are
I don't even know what
in
month
the
it
span
is.
of time.
I don't even know what month it is. It's Christmas in May.
Yeah.
I'd sing that if I could, but you don't want me to.
All right. So, okay. So recently I saw that you qualified for the USAW Nationals. Yeah.
I'm really happy about this, by the way.
Yes.
Second year in a row, right?
Congratulations.
Second year of the road, but they upped the ante this year.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
remember
legit.
it's legit. I feel legit.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
should
feel legit. I'm
Yeah,
really excited about that.
So what did you lift?
69 snatch and then 80 clean and jerk.
And how much do you weigh?
I'm 53 weight class.
Exactly.
Damn.
Holy shit.
Damn. How the hell, with all of your traveling and everything that you do, did you find time to weightlift to make it to nationals?
It was not without effort.
I bet.
Yeah. I had been just CrossFitting, just doing the class. So I'd only gone in and do the class, and that will make you strong, right? But I hadn't been really training since nationals last year. So since August, I've just been kind of on autopilot.
Yeah.
And then my coach is awesome, Doc. You can find him at docstrength.com. He's amazing. And I just decided to switch it up a little bit. So I reached out to Spencer Arnold and Power and Grace Performance. And I'm so excited because we have the same body type. So he programmed this stuff for me. And I've just been relentless with making sure that I go to the gym, get the programming in, and do what I'm supposed to do. And then the rest of the afternoon I work. So it was a really hard stretch, and I wanted to do this competition before I was going to be on the road for 2 weeks promoting the book and going to regionals, and so it was a lot of pressure.
But you just told me just a little bit ago that you've only been home once since January.
I've been on the road since January.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
To find that time is
Nonstop.
unbelievable to me.
You just have to make it work. So people were like, "Oh, I don't know how to eat well because I'm always traveling." I'm like, "Get out of my face! I don't want to hear
Right?
this."
Yeah.
I'm eating well, and I'm you got to do it.
You're
So
damn right.
you just got to put it in the schedule. It's a priority.
And so Grid is also really cool because you have specialists in Grid, right?
Yeah.
And weightlifters, and the whole weightlifting community kind of embraces Grid, which is pretty cool. So anyway, I thought it was really awesome that you qualified for nationals. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of
so
it.
Danny's wife just got back from regionals
Yes.
in St.
Yeah,
Louis.
USAW regionals.
USAW regionals, regional 1 in St. Louis. Yeah.
The first, she was in history.
She's in their history book. She booked it. Bam. Yeah. Actually, that was really fun. We had a really good time out there, and the weightlifting community as we discussed is pretty small still, and even though it's getting bigger, it's pretty awesome that people still embrace everybody else, and everyone cheers on everybody else.
Yeah.
And I love the community that's around weightlifting.
Yeah, the weightlifting community is really, really interesting, and you have to say weightlifting. They don't like Oli.
No.
You say Oli, they're like,
I just
Like,
had this
no,
conversation with someone the other day. So I powerlifted way back in the day, right? And we had weightlifting back then, and we knew the difference, right? And so someone was asking me, we're doing this at our gym, listing, what our gym does, a CrossFit gym, and we have a barbell club, and I was like, weightlifting and powerlifting. And the guy was like, oh, you have to say Olympic weightlifting. And I was like, oh, really? And why would I have to? Like, is there a different kind of weightlifting?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's just weightlifting, man. We've only in the last 5 or 8 years has everybody been like, holy.
We've got to
and
get
the
this
U.S.
wrapped in
is the
people's heads.
only ones that do that. Like, the
Right.
U.S. is
Oh,
the
it's just
'cause,
us.
Yeah, if you go overseas, it's
The
like,
rest of the world knows
you're
what
weightlift. And they know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly.
When I tell people I weightlift, they're like, oh, so you
You
get on
spray tan for
stage
that?
and
Spray
flex?
Yeah.
They're like, so how much do you bench? I'm like, no.
No.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the other one.
Yeah.
Right.
My wife said that whenever she so she's a teacher. So whenever she tells her teacher friends that she's a weightlifter, even though she showed her videos and everything, right? They're like, do you have to get a spray tan for that? And so that's
They're like, so do you wear
crazy.
sequins?
Right.
I actually did bedazzle my shoes last year for nationals.
Nice.
Oh my God, my wife did the same thing.
Yeah, it's so fun. You got to put a little flair because they make you wear these singlets. And for the longest time, I called it a onesie.
Okay.
So, like, you know, I had this singlet, and they're not that great. Although one girl does glamlets.
Yes.
And I want to get a
I've seen that.
glamlet made for nationals this
You
year.
should. You should.
I don't know what a glamlet is. What
Oh,
is it?
you'll
It's a
see.
onesie that's bedazzled.
Oh,
Marshall was on one of our shows. Asked us
Yeah.
where he could buy a really good singlet with a picture on it, and I sent him to Glamlets.
Yeah.
So he could get a good bedazzled one.
Oh, I'd love it. I love it. The girl that does it, Heather, she's I follow her a lot. She's one of the few that I really look up to because she's a smaller weight class than me,
Mhm.
and she's lifting the same amount as me. I'm like, that bitch is strong. Yeah, right? Yeah.
That bitch, right? No,
First
just
time
kidding.
First time I actually got called tall was when I was at nationals last year, and I was like 3 inches taller than all the other 50.
that's gotta feel good.
No, not in weightlifting. Like, so anyway, yeah, I reached out. I think this was an earlier question. I reached out to Spencer Arnold, and he tweaked some of my techniques. So I was self-taught until 2 months ago,
Holy cow.
and like easily through. I put 8 pounds on my snatch.
It's amazing
2
what a
months.
good coach can do,
Yeah.
right?
It's incredible.
Well, we're going to switch gears a little bit because I have a question for you. So I have 4 daughters, and so one of the things that we talk about all the time is kind of like, all the images out there that younger girls, even when I say younger, I mean just anybody below 40, right? As a lady, you look and you look for people to kind of give you hope that how you look is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine because you're so out there, you've got quite a few pictures of you clothed very, very little, right?
Or not at all.
Some naked pictures of you out there. And it's very good photography, by the way. I love the photographers because they do a really great job. And they obviously have a great model to work with, right? So how hard could it be?
Right.
Right?
It's
But
actually
That's
really
a tough
hard.
job.
Right. But I'm sure that I would imagine you take flack for some of this. And I'm just interested in your take on how, what could you tell girls out there? Like, how do you deal with all this?
I think this is actually a really cool point, and I appreciate you bringing it up because it's something that I'm really passionate about is loving your body, even if it's not your, like the perfect body, and people are going to riot when they hear, like, I don't have a perfect body.
When Conan tells me I love my body too much sometimes.
Yeah, he does. Especially when nobody's watching.
I think that's a rabbit hole that we may want to get away from.
Let's move along.
But really, it's especially girls in early adolescence. I think that preteen, early teen, your body's awkward anyway, and you're just kind of feeling out of place. So it's important to advocate that it's okay to just love your body as it is. And, genetics or whatever, you can change things. You can change your diet to kind of elicit a different response, which is great. But really, you just need to own yours. You get one out of your entire life. You get one. Love it. Own it. Yeah. And embrace it. So I get a lot of crap for, always showing my butt or like the whatever
Sure.
the pictures that are put out there.
Yeah.
But I've worked so hard for my body that I'm proud of it.
Right.
And so whatever you do, whether you're playing sports or you're whatever it is, you need to embrace it.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be perfect to be perfect.
Yeah.
And
So, I mean, it's just about embracing who you are and being okay with it.
Yeah.
And being positive. And we talked earlier about, just having passion and following that passion. And I think what's great is you've kind of taken that passion and this ability to appreciate who you are and how you look and how you're able to perform and everything. And basically, you've taken that and put it into a book.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So today is, I don't know what date
Your
it
book
is.
birthday.
Today
book
is
birthday.
my book birthday.
So if you see here, Christmas has got a book coming out. And I think it came out today, right? Is that right?
Today.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So tell it, but I think this is really cool because first of all, I was telling Danny on the way up here, like not to take anything away from all you cool people out there that are making ebooks. I know it's hard to write a book no matter how it comes out, but I do know that to get one published the old-fashioned way is not easy. Okay, and once you do, you're a badass.
I'm really proud of this book.
Block checked.
So proud. HarperCollins picked it up. So thank you, HarperCollins, for believing in me.
Thank everybody you can right now. Just
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Abby and Steve, thank you. Jillian, Janice, appreciate you guys. Yeah, it was so not even really happening until I put it in my hands.
Right.
And I was like,
When did you first see it? I mean, feel
about a
it,
week
touch it.
ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, only a week ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Once they get the final manuscript and then they publish, like, it's done. I turned it in January like final last edit, and then like you don't see it, and then it's in your hands, and then it basically you get like a week or two before it comes out on the shelves.
Wow.
So what is the book about?
It gives a little bit of my background, specifically one, hey, please support your military. Just soapbox, got to put it on there. A little bit about my background and how I got to kind of be a specialist with nutrition. And then it talks about how to balance your food, how to be able to choose foods in different categories to elicit what your goals are. And then it gives you a little bit about goal setting and how to be able to identify goals and work backwards from there. So how to set up for success, how to prepare for it mentally and physically, not just in your workout, but in life too.
Right. So this isn't just another nutrition book. I mean, this is going to give you tools to kind of, find your path in life and put some goals out there and give yourself a way to get wherever it is you want to go, right?
Yeah. And it's kind of, you can come in and do classes, but when you have a goal, say, for example, if you have a competition that you're working towards, you're much more focused. And so your life has a lot more structure and purpose. And not just with fitness, but maybe you're going to buy a house. Maybe you want to save up for a vacation. So you have to have goals in order to be able to really navigate a little bit more through life with purpose and intention. Otherwise, you're just kind of floating, and then what are you doing? You're just kind of just not contributing in a positive way.
Yeah.
So it talks about how to set up for success and that kind of concept. And then it also talks about how to build confidence. Specifically, like we were talking about the younger generation, younger females, you have to believe in yourself, but you don't have to believe it yet to act on it. So I always told myself, specifically in workouts that are really, really nasty, I did this when I first started working out, is instead of beating myself up being like, oh, you suck, this sucks, you don't do well, you're not good at this, I would always just lie to myself and just stroke my own ego in the workout. Yeah. And I would just, no matter how terrible it was or how terrible I was, which I rolled my ankle, couldn't walk for 3 days, first time I tried a double under, come a long way. But you just have to mentally put yourself into this positive place and be like, I'm the baddest bitch here.
Right.
I'm beautiful. I'm smart enough.
Yeah.
And God dang it, people like me.
Yeah.
And I could do a double under.
Eventually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't it? I mean, it's. I read this in a book somewhere years ago that once you start using these kind of goal muscles, right? So it's just like a regular muscle. If you don't use it, it gets weak.
Yeah.
Right. So if once you start making little goals and you start accomplishing them, now your goal muscles start getting stronger and stronger, and all of a sudden you can lift more weight. Right.
I
you
like
can
that
lift
your
bigger
goal
goals.
muscle. You're exercising your goal muscle.
Your goal muscles. You got to exercise them.
You're damn right.
But yeah, it's true. It starts creating a habit, and it's a positive habit, and you don't have to have this absurd goal, like I'm going to the games or I'm going to nationals. It can be just as easy as I'm going to go and this week I'm going to go to the gym 3 times.
Which that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I think that's
what you can start with. And I tell people how to layer specific stuff. Like, some people can't jump into a different diet regimen all in. So layer it. Start with just breakfast for a week. The next week, do breakfast and lunch. So you're setting up these smaller goals to get to that big, big goal.
I think a lot of people buy in too much. They watch athletes, particularly elite athletes, and they see them do these just very, very regimented, very discipline-oriented nutrition programs. Yeah, that's not realistic.
It's not.
It is when you're an elite athlete, but when
even
you're an average
then
person, it's still tough, right? Yeah.
So episode 16, if you guys check it out, we interviewed Sheila Barden from the LA Reign, and she's this little dynamo, and she gets through the hardest workouts. She can't lift the weight like other athletes can in regionals and the games, but she has a work ethic that's insane, and her mind is insane. And I asked her, what gets you through those workouts, and how can you compete with these other people who can't lift or that you can't lift as much as? And she said, it's 1 rep at a time.
Yeah.
Like no matter how long the workout is, no matter how many workouts I have during the day, no matter where I am in the competition, it is 1 rep at a time. And as soon as I finish that 1 rep, I've accomplished that goal, and I just go on to the next rep. And it's just 1 at a time.
That's you have to do, be present in the moment.
Yes.
And if you get too far ahead of yourself, I don't like to think. People they're like, oh my God, that's 150 repetitions when they look at the workout. I'm like,
I'm guilty of that.
I'm doing 1, it's 1, and then I'm going to do another one. So I think of the same way as well.
Where do you think that switch happened? Was it gradual? Was it an immediate thing? What is it that switched in your head that said, I can walk into anything, a workout or a situation, and say, you know what, I'm going to own this the best I can?
You know, self-doubt is a nasty, nasty thing. It will ruin people. It was gradual. It was literally the first time, and I talk about that, you know, like when I'm getting mortared, that was when I had my epiphany in Iraq.
To do it.
January 2004. You were in country. And it was just like, what do I do? The first thing I realized was that I wanted to just quit smoking, make one positive decision. So it wasn't like I decided that I was going to become a fitness guru.
And that's hard to do when you're on a little military base because everybody's smoking.
You know what? I quit smoking by saying one day at a time. Every day I woke up, said, I'm not going to smoke today.
And sometimes it's 1 minute.
Yep, right. Absolutely. Palms are sweating. You're like, oh, nope.
Yeah. You can't get too far ahead of yourself. So it's a mental you develop that habit, just what we were talking about. Just same ways you set up your goals, you set up these small mental exercises, and it builds mental fortitude.
Well, I'll tell you what, the goal setting you've done has worked. The hard work you've done has worked. And I'm sure I can't wait to get my hands on this book. I might just walk out with this one. but no, so tell us where we can get the book. Is it like you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble?
You know, it's funny. I was like, oh, my God, it's on Amazon. Barnes & Noble carries it. Amazon ships to your house.
Nice.
And you can go to my website to order it, ChristmasAbbott.com, HarperCollins.com. You can get it there. So really, if you can't find
it. Kindle edition?
They have an online version, yes.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Because I read everything online. So
yeah.
Just looking out for me.
But I love it because it has a whole bunch of recipes, so you can like literally keep it in your kitchen. Yeah.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
Get to the food portion. That's what I'm interested in. Let's do this.
And I love food. And what I loved is, like what you were talking about before, is that you can have the perfect diet and you can be miserable.
Sure.
So this and what I need in my life is reality. So I want to eat well, but I want to eat things that I love. And in order to do that, you have to balance it out well. So that's what I talk about.
Sounds like you're talking about balance, right? You got to have some kind of balance.
You do.
I mean, even when you get to, you talk about how hard you're working and how hard you're grinding. You've barely been home since January. But there's no way that's going to work unless somewhere in there's some balance and you're happy. You know? I
love what I do, but eventually I'm going to have a vacation.
Yeah, right.
Damn right.
I've been saying that for 5 years now.
Well, I really want to say thank you for joining us on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Well, thank you so much for coming up here and celebrating my book birthday with me.
Yeah, it was our pleasure. Glad to be here for your birthday.
Christmas in New York. It's not going to be better. So without further ado, let's head on over to Quadrant 4.
See you guys there. Buy the book.
Hey guys, welcome to Quadrant 4. We're in Times Square.
Holy cow, what a day, Danny.
Oh my God, that was awesome. So we found Christmas in New York.
We found Christmas. She was a great guest on the show. And we know it was a little corny in the beginning, guys, running all over New York, but we just wanted to have fun with it.
How can you not, right? I mean, you're in New York.
You have to. And I do happen to love Christmas in New York, Christmas time in New York. So New York City is one of my favorite cities in the world. And we spent the day here, had a great time with Christmas Abbott in one of the best cities in the world.
And if you'll notice that we panned across the New York Police Department.
Yeah, so this week, when this airs on Wednesday, as it comes out every Wednesday on May 13th, that is actually one of the kickoffs for the National Police Memorial Week, otherwise known as Police Week in Washington, D.C., where they do the memorial for all the police officers that have died this year. So we just want to a shout out to the families and all the people that are going to be in D.C. for that this week. And, man, it's just been an incredible show. I'm kind of speechless at this point because we've been running all over New York.
An incredible day.
And interviewing Christmas. So we appreciate having you guys watch the show. Please share the show with your friends. Make sure to check us out on iTunes if you're listening to the audio version. And we're all over social media at GridCast TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Subscribe to our YouTube page as well.
Yeah, we will start kicking out a regular newsletter so you guys can keep track of everything that's going on. Been a great show.
Yeah, so without further ado, clean up all your jerks and snatches, drink your beer in batches, and always dominate your grid matches. See you later, guys.
See ya.